As you're sitting at your desk, your body is producing, reproducing, and killing off cells. And what most people don't realize is these processes happen from macromolecules. Macromolecules are polymers that are produced from monomers, and the polymers are produced when monomers go through a condensation reaction, which is a loss of water. Organic molecules are essentially what make us human. They really help with all the processes and different ways that our body breaks down nutrients. What I learned in my research was carbohydrates, proteins, and nucleic acids were the most important because they're polymers, and then lipids, however, are not polymers. Today I will be talking to you about the 4 major organic macromolecules, which are nucleic acids, proteins, carbohydrates, and lipids. Let's first start talking about carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are sugars, and many of them are polymers. And sugars are used for energy, and they're a producer of carbon. The first sugar is monosaccharides. And monosaccharides would be a simple sugar and just one sugar. And according to Collin County Community College, monosaccharides are the raw material that are used to help build the structure of the cell. And also, they're used as a defense for any foreign body that would want to come into the cell or damage or harm the cell potentially. And monosaccharides are important carbohydrates that are needed to produce energy throughout the body. And when 2 monosaccharides are put together, these are considered disaccharides. And disaccharides, which you may be familiar with, are maltose. Maltose is malt sugar. And then lactose, which is milk sugar, which a lot of people cannot break down lactose, therefore they're considered lactose intolerant, and they their body cannot break it down, and therefore their stomach may hurt, or they may have troubles or be sick or something like that. And then there's polysaccharides, which are 2 or more sugars in the body, and in this case, these would be considered the starches that you take in. And then cellulose comes from polysaccharides, because cellulose is used for the cell walls of plants. Okay, and then next would be lipids. Well, lipids are hydrophobic molecules, which mean they do not like water at all. And they stay away from water, and they have a hydrophobic head and hydrophilic tails that connect, and these are considered these transport throughout the cell as well. They're like messengers. And then lipids are considered your fats, and your fats would be your candy bar that you like to eat, or your Lay's potato chips that you just love to munch on at night. That would be considered your fats. There are 2 different types of fats, which are unsaturated and saturated. And unsaturated would be your nuts, your palm oil, your oils like olive oil. That's a big thing. And saturated is saturated with hydrogens. It's a hydrogen chain. There are no carbons within it. And in this case, these would be like your butter, your margarine, your peanut butter, and so forth. And fat is used as energy in the body, and it is stored for certain times when it needs it. And it goes to it like whenever you have a burst of adrenaline, or any time that you need energy, like when you're exercising, it comes from your fat. It burns that. And just as lipids are used for energy for animals and humans, what macromolecule helps to build the cell and builds the structure of the cell? Well, that would be proteins. Proteins benefit the cell, and in my research, I found that proteins help the cell structure, and they're used for the transport of intracellular communications. And amino acids are the building blocks for proteins. If you can imagine, amino acids would be 20 there would be 20 stacked amino acids, which would make a protein chain. And then proteins have 4 different structures, and that would be primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. And proteins would be in your everyday diet. It's something that we eat every day. That would be considered your meats, such as red meat, which is something that a lot of people in the South eat. That's really not stressed. It's not considered to be good for you. And then it would be your nuts and your beans. Those are considered your proteins. And those you don't really need to eat in large amounts, because if you have too much protein, as many people know with bodybuilders, a lot of people, when they think of protein, they think of bodybuilders, and they take protein supplements and they take protein powder and stuff like that. In this case, protein isn't always a good thing, because if you take too much of it in and then you're not working it off, and you're not working it off consistently and exercising and burning it off, then it just stores as fat, and that's never a good thing, if you have excess fat for the body frame that you have. And then proteins, they help with the structure and support of the cell. But what is the last macromolecule? Well, that would be nucleic acids. Nucleic acids, they carry the genetic material for your body. They carry genetic material from your parents, from your grandparents, from everyone, so that you know what kind of hair you're going to have. Like when you're in the womb, they already know what kind of color eyes you're going to have, what kind of nose you're going to have, what kind of ears. This genetic material comes from that. What kind of diseases you might carry, what kind of, history you might have. That comes from your genetic material. There are 2 types of nucleic acids, which are DNA and RNA. And DNA is deoxyribose nucleic acid, and RNA is ribose nucleic acid. And DNA, if you can imagine, it's in a double helix. It's in 2 strands with rods in between, and it's wrapped in a spiral motion. And these carry all of the genetic information. And DNA is what makes you you. And so nucleic acids are a really, really big thing. And in conclusion, we have talked about macromolecules, which impact your body so much, and they help benefit the way your body uses their cell function and so forth. And we have talked about the 4 big organic macromolecules, which are proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, and nucleic acids, and the large impact that these 4 actually have on the body, and the way we absorb nutrients and the way we take them in. I think it's really amazing, because when you're eating like a cheeseburger, or even if you're eating like a cucumber, or you're eating a potato chip, these macromolecules help your body to know how to break down the nutrients that you're taking in, and use them in your cells, and use them in your body, and make you you. But I just really think that these help to influence the way our body functions.